The flashing red and blue lights lit up my driveway like some grotesque late-night party. I stood there barefoot in my pajamas, heart pounding against my ribcage as two uniformed officers stepped out of the squad car, their hands resting casually on their belts. "Ethan Cole?" the taller one asked, his voice flat, official, rehearsed. "Yes." "Officers, what's this about?" I stammered, my mind racing. Had I missed a speeding ticket? Was there a break-in nearby? Why were they here at my house? In the middle of the night? The officer's eyes didn't blink. "Sir, we have a warrant to search your vehicle. We received an anonymous tip that you're in possession of a significant quantity of illegal narcotics." The world tilted beneath my feet. "What? That's insane. That's my car. I'm a businessman. You can check it, but that's ridiculous." I shivered in the cool night air as they meticulously went through my brand-new Porsche Cayenne. That car was my pride and joy, gift to myself, after closing a deal that pushed my real estate development empire's valuation to $50 million. Now it was being treated like a crime scene. From the driver's side came a chilling word: bingo. My blood ran cold. The officer emerged, holding a clear vacuum-sealed bag filled with a white, powdery substance. Another followed with several more bags. It looked fake, like something straight out of a television crime drama, yet here it was right in front of me. "That's not mine." I whispered, my voice hoarse with disbelief. "I have no idea how that got there." The cold metallic click of handcuffs around my wrists was the most surreal sensation of my life. "Ethan Cole, you're under arrest for possession of narcotics with intent to distribute. You have the right to remain silent." As they pushed my head down to guide me into the squad car, I saw him, my Uncle Richard. He stood in the shadows across the street, pretending to be a concerned neighbor. But I didn't see concern on his face. I saw a flicker of triumph, a smirk he could barely suppress. "Hi, I'm Ethan. You're probably thinking this is where my life fell apart, but it's actually where my uncle's began to unravel, because Uncle Richard made 3 critical mistakes. First, he targeted me. Second, he didn't know about my dash cam. And third, he never considered that the quiet woman who emptied the trash every night was my most loyal employee. But let's rewind. Uncle Richard had always been a leech. When my parents died in a car crash years ago, he became my legal guardian. He saw the life insurance payout and the modest inheritance not as money to care for me with, but as his personal slush fund. By the time I turned 18, it was gone. "Bad investments," he said with a shrug, as if that excused everything. "I built my empire from nothing. From literally digging ditches on construction sites, I clawed my way up. I swore I would never be vulnerable like that again." Richard, meanwhile, stumbled from one failed get-rich-quick scheme to another, always showing up with his hand out, 1,000 here, 5,000 there. Out of some twisted sense of family duty, I always gave it to him. My girlfriend, Samantha, thought I was a saint. "You're too good to him, Ethan," she'd whisper, kissing my cheek. "He doesn't deserve you. If only I had listened." The second player in this nightmare was Samantha herself. Beautiful, charming, magnetic. I thought she was utterly devoted. We had been together for 2 years. She knew everything about me. My business, my fears, my dreams. She was my confidant. Or so I believed. And the third, arguably the most important, was Isabella. She worked as the janitor in my office building, a kind older woman who had emigrated from El Salvador. She held down 2 brutal jobs to pay off the mountain of debt her ex-husband had left her, with $800,000 worth, I knew, because I once overheard her in the break room crying on the phone in rapid Spanish about loan sharks I offered to help, but she refused, too proud. "Thank you, Mr. Cole, but this is my problem." She had said, her eyes glistening with tears. Uncle Richard's plan was perfect. His mind, I was about to sign papers for a massive new development project. If I was incapacitated, my power of attorney would fall to my next of kin, him. He would swoop in, save the company, and install himself as CEO Samantha. She was his insurance policy, his inside woman. Together, they would seize control of everything I had built. But here's what they didn't know. My new Porsche had a state-of-the-art dash cam, always on, always recording. I bought it after a minor fender bender, out of pure paranoia. That paranoia would become my salvation. And then there was Isabella. While cleaning the vacant office next to Uncle Richard's one night, she heard everything. Their entire scheme whispered in the dark. She came to me the next, morning hands trembling as she poured my coffee. "Mr. Cole," she whispered, "I heard something terrible. I was cleaning. They didn't know I was there. Your uncle and Samantha, they are planning something. For tonight, they are putting something in your car. They are calling the police." The air left my lungs. Betrayal cut deep. Samantha, Uncle Richard. It was too horrifying to be real, yet Isabella's fear was genuine, her voice quaking with urgency. I looked into her eyes and made a decision. Isabella. I said, my voice calm despite the storm inside me. The debt. The $800,000. Is it still a problem? She nodded, confused. I pulled out my checkbook, wrote the amount, and slid the paper across the desk. It's not a loan. It's a thank you for saving my life. Now I need you to do one more thing for me. Go home. Act normal. Tell no one. She tried to refuse, but I insisted. The gratitude in her tear-filled eyes was worth more than any money. Let them play their hand. I let Uncle Richard plant the drugs. I let Samantha act horrified when the police came. I let myself be arrested, sitting in that cold, sterile holding cell. I wasn't afraid. I was furious because I held the ultimate trump card. My lawyer, whose retainer could buy a small island, had the dash cam footage in his hands within an hour. Crystal clear, you could see Uncle Richard's face illuminated by the car's interior light as he shoved the bags of fake cocaine under the driver's seat. You could even hear his voice muttering, "Just a few more hours, Ethan, then it's all mine." The police were embarrassed, mortified. The charges were dropped before I even spent one night in jail, but I didn't go home. I went to my office. It was 5 a.m. I sat in the dark, waiting. At 8 a.m., the board of directors, led by my Uncle Richard, was scheduled for an emergency meeting to vote on his temporary leadership. Samantha would be there too, playing the devastated girlfriend. They filed into the conference room, faces arranged in masks of false concern. Uncle Richard sat at the head of the table. "My table, Ethan," Samantha gasped, rushing forward. "Oh my God, you're out. How? Are you okay?" She tried to hug me. I stepped back, cold as ice. Uncle Richard puffed out his chest. "Ethan, thank God you're all right. The board and I were just discussing how to keep the company stable during this unfortunate situation." "What unfortunate situation? Is that Richard?" My voice was quiet, razor sharp. "The one where you planted drugs in my car? Or the one where you and my girlfriend conspired to steal my company?" The room froze. Dead silence. Uncle Richard's face flushed purple. "How dare you? After all I've done for you. This is stress talking. The drugs must have—" I cut him off. I picked up the remote and pressed play on. The big screen, the footage rolled. His face, his hands, his words. Crystal clear. The color drained from his cheeks. Samantha whimpered, collapsing into a chair. I turned to the board. "As you can see, there was an attempted hostile takeover led by a criminal." Then I looked at Samantha, and aided by a traitor. From my pocket, I pulled the original check for $800,000. The one I had given Isabella. I held it up. "This is what loyalty is worth." I said to the room. My eyes never left Richard and Samantha. "You tried to destroy me for less than this. Isabella, the woman who cleans your offices, saved me because it was the right thing to do. You two, you're just trash." I turned to security. "Escort Mr. Richard and Miss Samantha from the building. They are banned from all company property permanently. As they were dragged out, Richard shouting about lawyers, Samantha sobbing, I faced my stunned board. The emergency meeting is adjourned. We have a company to run. The fallout was swift. Richard was charged with planting evidence, filing a false police report, and conspiracy. His bail was set so high he would never make it. Samantha lost everything. Her reputation, her friends, the luxurious life I had provided, all gone. She tried to call me to apologize, but I had already changed my number. And Isabella? She paid off every cent of her debt. She still works for me, but now she is head of office operations with a 6-figure salary and benefits that would make a CEO jealous. She earned every bit of it. So I'll ask you, if the people closest to you tried to destroy you for money, would you seek revenge? Or would you let the truth be their punishment?